Hey everyone, Cyborg again, here with Temp, and we're going to cover Part 6, also known as issue number 6 for the Injustice comic series, and we're going through the entire series. So let's jump into this. If you haven't seen the other videos, make sure you check those out, and we're going to continue going along till we finish them all. And subscribe if you haven't already, and like the video, all that fun stuff. Let's get that out of the way, and let's jump into issue number 6 here. Okay, so we start off continuing along the fight that we left off in issue 5, and we have all the Arkham inmates trying to take down the superheroes, Batman, everything going crazy, just pure chaos. Harley's still in the little control room over the intercom. I love that she's ordering people around, telling criminals to do this and that, and I appreciate that she wants Green Arrow to be kept safe and unharmed because she has a crush on him.
Relationship now,
yeah. She even says maybe it's Stockholm syndrome. it's
literally true. Like that's not even like an exaggeration.
No,
that's right.
Yeah, that's exactly what you would expect from Harley. So once again, good writing there, because if they didn't do that, I mean, it would seem kind of silly, but I like that they did manage to include that. I wanted to mention there was a moment here where Killer Croc was holding down Batman, and so was Calendar Man, and Croc tells Riddler to... Riddler's holding a rock above his head, and Croc tells him to smash his head in with the rock, and Riddler is just like hesitating. For some reason, I gotta point this out. It made me think back to the animated series where it's Killer Croc, and I use that in quotation marks, where they're telling stories about how they almost got Batman. And and he's like, I threw a rock at him. It was a big rock. Anyways, obviously we know how that ends, but that was a funny little... It made me think of that when he's ordering Riddler to smash his head in with a rock. And Riddler is hesitating because he needs to think of a riddle first. So I love that. And then he ends up getting stopped, of course, because he takes too long. I just love that Riddler is so... the way he is, and he has to, like, he OCD to the extreme, of course, with his riddles, that he can't even capitalize on this opportunity to kill Batman because he has not yet thought of a riddle.
He can't find the right one. It's like he has a lot of riddles, but he's trying to find the one that fits.
The perfect one that somehow involves a rock in it and smashing in a head. Oh, good stuff, good stuff. So yeah, I enjoyed that moment, and then let's fast forward a little bit here. They need to stop Grundy because Grundy's still holding on to Damian, and Nightwing basically says, he kind of tips off Superman. He's like, Grundy can heal anyways, he regenerates, so you could probably just not hold back and destroy the crap out of Grundy, and no harm, no foul. I don't think anybody would blame you, or nobody would be throwing out the red card on that one. So Superman just goes and eye lasers his hand off, which makes him drop Robin, of course, and he's stuck in his ginormous palm, which is great. And Nightwing has to pull the grip off of, just pull the fingers open just so he can escape. It's so massive. Anyways, and then Superman just flat out flies through Grundy's chest. Just full-on Superman
brutal too.
Right through the back, busting out the chest, and just no holding back whatsoever. That is Superman not holding back, and it was awesome. That was really, really cool. And then I love the camera angle, even though it's not really a camera, but I love the panel where it shows Grundy in the foreground, and it's just like his silhouette. And you see through the ginormous hole in his chest, Batman, Damian, and Dick in the distance. They're just seen through the chest. I thought that's just good art right there. That's good. Like in a movie, that would be a great camera angle. So they nailed that there. So I thought that was really good. I like how when all the scuffle's going down, in the background, you can see Two-Face getting hit by none other than a fucking boxing glove arrow. Two-Face is just getting punched by the boxing glove arrow. Once again, a nice callback. So they're doing pretty good at the callbacks so far of previous things that they hinted, which we're about to get into. Another callback, and here's where the feels come again. So Robin and Nightwing start to have a little spat, and Nightwing's telling Damian, you're taking things too far. You need to stop, because Damian's basically beating the crap out of the Riddler. He's saying, we shouldn't be protecting you. Superman's right, etc., etc. And Nightwing's realizing Damian's probably taking it too far, and he might, end up trying to kill one of them. So he tries to stop him. Damian gets upset, and he does the whole thing where it's called back to the Batcave when they're practicing. And last time Superman was there to catch it. This time, not so much, my friend. And he throws the little Eskrima stick, nails Nightwing right in the side of the head. Nightwing stumbles back and happens to just fall right on a rock and break his neck. Tough day at the office there.
Yeah, this one was mixed for me. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to jump in here?
Well, I mean, like, in terms of how I felt about it, I thought it was good. I thought it was effective. Granted, I knew that was probably coming, but I wasn't thinking about the previous issue where they did the flash forward and Robin was dead and his son was dead. I knew that when I read the flash forward, as you called it, in the previous issue, I knew that was probably Nightwing and not Damian that he was referring to. Anytime you see like just a hand or anything like that, where they don't actually show the person and they're calling out to somebody, obviously it's a trick to make you think it's one person when it's not, like when it's somebody else instead. I knew that was going to happen, but I completely forgot about that. So when this happened, I was not expecting that. I honestly was not expecting that. So to me, I thought it was well done. Yeah, it's a little bit silly, like that Nightwing would just, out of all the things that they've fought, he would die because he gets hit in the head and then falls on a rock and breaks his neck. But I thought that
That's
was
part of it,
effective.
for sure.
I
Yes,
thought that was
didn't.
really effective. That Damian killed him, and Damian was super upset afterwards, crying his eyes out, and all he could say to Bruce was, "I'm sorry." And yeah, so I thought it was effective. Your thoughts?
I think probably it was effective for some reason, like the most effective part was Harley Quinn crying. I guess I'm not the
Yeah,
biggest Harley Quinn fan 'cause I just don't understand that character. But
that's the way it's supposed to
um,
be. That's why she's
yeah,
great. She's just a wild card, anyways.
but well, first of all, I should say, anytime for whatever reason in the Injustice comics, if you can see the blue of Batman's eyes, he usually looks ridiculous. Like, I don't know why, but if you look at the panel, like
Sure.
right when he notices that
No,
Dick
I know.
Grayson's
Yeah.
it wow.
It's like when Superman shoved his hand through Joker's chest and he had his big open face. But
Oh, good times.
anyways,
But I just didn't buy his reaction. And I knew this was coming because I mean, if you played the game, they tell you this is coming.
I forgot. So yeah, it's been so
Yeah.
long, but yeah.
Well, I mean, for spoilers for the like maybe the three people in the world who have not seen Captain America: Civil War yet, but spoilers coming up. There's a battle at the end, and when I saw the trailer for that movie, I wanted this battle of convictions, and what I got was this contrived bullshit reason that Tony Stark throws a bitch fit. Even though I do really like that movie, I was really disappointed in that, and it's the same thing here. I wanted a real battle, and I mean, Razor told me I think a year ago, before I ever had any intention of reading his comics, that the killing was an accident. Like Damien never intended to actually kill Dick Grayson.
Sure, yeah, and I think that was
But I
clear
wanted
here.
something more than that. This is really like feels very rushed, and
Um,
I don't know. I wanted more. I wanted a battle of convictions.
I agree and disagree. I mean, I get wanting more out of it, but I like the setup that they set it up previously in the Batcave. So I like that this is a thing for Damien, that he has anger
Yeah,
issues, he lashes out, and it isn't the first time he's tried to throw the Eskrima stick at Nightwing, but usually it's just them in practice, so Nightwing sees it coming. Whereas this was everything's going on around them. That this time, but there's several layers in my opinion, because you could make an argument that Damien threw it at him out of anger, but he fully expected Nightwing to react to it and see it coming and get out of the way or catch it. And
yeah.
this time there was just too much going on. Wrong place to do that, and Damien made a mistake. Didn't think that was going to lead to that, and I thought Damien's reaction felt very genuine. And I'm with you. I really loved Harley's reaction. That further sold it for me. And I like that Harley's like that because
Yeah,
that's part of the charm of her character is Harley constantly comes across as she can be very ruthless and uncaring at times. I mean, she's been part of Joker's schemes, but it's usually Joker's schemes that she's a part of, that she's playing a part in, that she's part of these nasty things. Her herself, she rarely does like very vicious, over the top, disturbing things. I mean, she's just usually batshit insane, but she's all over the place. But this is part of it. Is
yeah.
Harley didn't want like I don't know. I feel like it's definitely within her character to be up like bothered. Like I would imagine her crying if Batman died as well. Even though as many times as she's tried to kill him, there's that like there's that interplay between them that I feel like it's warranted. But yeah, I don't know.
There's also hints of redemption because Harley is redeemed by the end of the Injustice game, so there's
Sure.
hints of good there. So I mean, I too like it a lot, honestly. Even though I'm never going to be wild about Harley Quinn because, like I said in another cast months ago, when you mention Harley Quinn, what are you really referencing? There's so many versions of Harley Quinn that it's really hard to pin her down to one character. Suicide Squad, I think, is what we were talking about back then, or maybe not. I don't know. But what do you? Here's a question at the risk, because I don't want to go too deep in this. I
Sure.
know we try to keep this short, but do you buy Batman's response? I don't want to say reaction, because I do buy his reaction. I don't buy his response. I would think he would. He's the world's greatest detective. He's not going to talk to Damian.
What do you mean?
Well, he never even talks to Damian. Damian just goes with Superman, and we never see him again.
Well, they
I don't
left
know if I
him.
buy it.
It's because they left him. He wouldn't get on the plane with them when they wanted to go to Arkham. So it was
Yeah,
an emergency. So at that point, it's just like, whatever, fine. And then they just left because they're not going to deal with his crap at that time because they were in a hurry to make sure that, they got there in time. And Damian went with Superman. But at the same time, that's very much their relationship. I mean, Damian was raised by Talia in the League of Shadows. I mean, Damian's trained by assassins, evil assassins. So that's why Damian is the way that he is. He's always been a troublesome. In their comics of Batman and Robin comics that feature Damian, Damian flat out kills people with a sword, and
yeah.
that's not okay with Bruce, but he has to accept the way Damian is. He just tries to continually try and get him to see the light of good, and that's
But
not the way to go about things. That's the continuous struggle with the character.
fair, but when he sees Damien again in the Injustice game, he says, "You stop being." I think it's been a long time, but I think he said the line, "You stop being my son the day you killed Dick." But Batman has to be smart enough to know it was an accident. So that line, maybe in this issue, yes, it makes sense. It's not like Batman really had a chance to do anything about it because he went with Superman.
I think he knows.
But
I think he knows that it was an accident, but just because somebody accidentally kills somebody doesn't necessarily mean you're okay with that or that you
it's
get over that.
Batman, though.
I
I
get
mean,
that,
it's,
but
I don't
Dick
know.
Grayson is very much his son too. So that's not.
Yeah,
I could see why he would not be forgiving of him. At least, I mean, this is only what in like a 5 year period that all that takes place in the game and all that. So I could see why it's still not mended by that point, especially because if Damien still keeps going down the Superman path. So I don't know.
okay, all right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll give it time. We'll
Right
let it
now, it
flesh
is
out. Yeah.
suspect. But yeah,
Okay.
okay.
But I do want to continue on to the next chapter because that pretty much wraps up that chapter. We leave off there with him carrying Dick Grayson off. The next chapter is pretty good too. That was a very strong chapter, I do want to say though, because that I thought there was a lot of good moments in there. A lot of fun, like I said, just fun moments I noticed and pointed out. Plus, ended with the feels once again. Um, yeah, in the next chapter we see Catwoman. She is stealing from a rich person. She's has a lot of inner monologue going on where she's explaining how monsters come in many forms. It's not just like the evil people aren't just the people that go and kill people or the criminals on the street. It's also the criminals that are running in politics, running organizations, businesses, etc. People that cause people to be out of jobs, be out of homes, etc. So, I mean, they come in many forms. So she's kind of playing up that note. She's stealing money. She finds a criminal dead on the street. I guess it was a criminal that had morals, and he wouldn't take their ID cards or their credit cards. He would just take what they had money wise on them because he didn't want to cause them a giant inconvenience. He just wanted the money up front, stuff like that. So she felt bad that that guy had died. So she's going and stealing from a rich person, and she's going to give a lot of the money that she takes to that person's family. Anyways, Superman comes in, stops her, wants to talk to her, leads to this whole chase, which there was a fun moment in there where I like how she made mention of she's used to running from Batman, but with them there's rules. They both play their parts. I like that interchange between, like, I like the relationship of Catwoman and Batman. I really, really do. I mean, that's why Catwoman's one of my favorite characters of all time, is because I love the relationship that those two have. It's like it's so complicated. Like if they were on a Facebook couple, their relationship status would be it's complicated, and that would be a prime example of that. But I love that so much. I love that their cat and mouse play is very much what it is. And but in this time she's not used to facing Superman, but she has a trick up her sleeve, so to speak, or in her ear, I should say, because she has a kryptonite earring, one of them, that she stole from Bruce. And so she gets away slightly, but then Superman catches up with her and talks with her. And the only real notes I didn't make many notes of this chapter because there's not a whole lot to it. I do like some of the moments though. I like how Catwoman calls Superman out on how him and Batman are so brave. They'll take bullets for each other. They'll fight Doomsday to the death for each other and to save people, etc. Yet they can't just talk it out. Like they can't. They have such a problem going and talking to each other and talking out this mess that they're just so divided. And there's that stubbornness, and that is so true of so many people. You can be the toughest person in the world, but so many people are stubborn like that. They get a disagreement, no matter how big or small, and they will refuse to talk it out, but they'll be strong physically and risk their lives to help people, but they'll just have a spat over some things. I thought that was kind of funny.
That shit is real, yeah. Kind of like we mentioned in the last episode, like there's a lot of things like that kind of, like the guilt Flash feels when he didn't do the right thing. Like that's this here too, when you can't talk to someone over something really fucking stupid usually.
Yeah, there's a lot of good commentary going on here. And this chapter specifically is filled with a lot of like political commentary going on. But yeah, and then the only other thing I really want to notice, I love that Superman goes to Catwoman specifically to tell her Nightwing died. Her reaction was obviously very sad. She's teared up, and then he wants her to go be with Batman because he probably needs somebody at his side because he's pretty much all alone. He has Alfred, but I mean, he suggests to her, go be with him because he really needs somebody. I thought that was a really cool thing because at the end of the day, no matter how much they're fighting, I love that they still have that going on, that there's still that care there. And I absolutely loved that final few panels with Catwoman going to his house, going to his mansion or whatever, and going down to the Batcave, and then just like he's just bashing his hands into a punching bag or whatever the hell it was, and he's in his full Batman getup, probably didn't even take it off. He's just bashing his, knuckles into it and just bleeding all over. Skin's raw, and she just goes in there and says, "Can you just not be Batman for a day and let me kind of let his guard down and she wants to be the shoulder for him to lean on and cry on or do whatever, be his rock, so to speak." And I thought that was cool. I mean, the image of this issue, or the cover of this issue, pretty much, was foreshadowing to that. But I love that moment, those final few, and you could tell Bruce gave in to her and just kind of let it all out. And I thought that was strong.
Yeah, I think Catwoman is, I think, good for Bruce because I don't think Bruce ever gets too close to her because of what she is. Yeah. But I think Bruce has that need for someone who understands him. So I think there's I don't want to call it parasitic. I will say this: I like Catwoman better when she doesn't know Batman's Bruce Wayne. I think that's a lot more interesting to me because I like the curiosity that is sort of pulled out of Catwoman. They have that dynamic, but yeah.
I like it. I like it both ways in that way. I agree with you in the sense that I like those little moments that they have when they don't know. Yeah, those can be a lot of fun. But I also like when they do know, and they're both. I don't know. It's been done both ways in comics over the years. I appreciate both ways because they both lean or lend themselves to specific moments and things that you can have like this. If she didn't know Bruce was Bruce, you may not get something like this. I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
possible, but she wouldn't even know where to go to find him. So yeah, I just think certain things like this, where at the end of the day, they have fun and games with each other, like the whole cat and mouse chasing each other, and she breaks rules that he's not okay with, but there's that tension there. But I like at the end of the day, they truly do care for each other. If it was Catwoman that died, Bruce would be devastated as well. So I like that
Oh, for
that's
sure.
going on. So but yeah, we'll move on to the last chapter here. Not too much to say about this. I thought this one was the most filler of the issue. It was basically Batman and Catwoman. They meet up with Gordon, and I guess the president's there too. They act surprised, but then later they're just like, "Yeah, we knew." Like they just like completely shoot that down and just like take that win from his sales that he surprised them, which is kind of funny in its own little way. But I guess the government has all these files. They want Batman's help. They want him to assemble a team essentially of people that aren't yet aligned with Superman because they figure if they're not aligned with Superman yet, there's probably a reason for it. And they have all these files. Batman doesn't really need them because he has his own, of course. But Catwoman takes them. She laughs at how ridiculous the files are because they're mentioning things like people having daddy issues, yet not like actual information on their background and being an alien from another planet and etc. Stuff like that. And I guess she goes up to Black Canary and she's mentioning how they have like tons of research of why she wears fishnets and all this ridiculous stuff, and like those are tax dollars at work, just making fun of that and the ridiculousness of it. So there's a
Who
lot of that
is the
going
girl in
on.
purple, by the way? The lavender girl? Who is that?
That's Huntress. She's
Okay, I do
another
not know
kind of,
her.
yeah. She's another Gothamite, so to speak. She's kind of neutral from what I understand, but yeah, there's some cool moments in there, but yeah, it felt a little bit more like filler. Batman's team shaping up, though. This was definitely one of those. If it was a movie, it would be a montage of him meeting different people and kind of getting the band together, like Gone in 60 Seconds. You know, you're going and meeting all the people, getting everyone together. It's essentially every end of a Marvel movie wrapped up into one chapter because it's like Nick Fury always asking a new person. But yeah, I did like some of that stuff going on, and yeah, luckily Batman has Aquaman and Captain Atom on his team, or at least so far, because there's a lot of people without superpowers in there. Like, I mean, there's superpowers, but like Black Canary, Green Arrow, Huntress, Batwoman, not a whole lot of strength on on their
No,
side.
Aquaman's probably the strongest person they
Yeah,
got, I think, yeah.
yeah. Captain Atom has his strengths. Black Lightning has his strengths, but yeah, the Aquaman definitely would be the strongest person for sure. But yeah, no. So far, it's shaping up, and yeah, overall, it was a good issue in my opinion. Some filler for sure, but I liked the Catwoman moments for the feels. It was a nice come down from what happened with Dick, and then I just appreciated the moments between her and Batman. But yeah, that first chapter definitely was a lot of fun and ended on a rough note.
Why I'm excited about this group because we know just based on who he picked that one of them is going to bail and another one's going to turn into a bit of a Judas. So I'm really excited to see how that happens.
Sure.
Um, the president stuff I didn't really like. It felt really heavy-handed. When Batman said, "I voted for you," I was like, "Oh God, are we doing this? Are we really doing this?" Man, but yeah, that was cheesy as hell. But yeah, other than that, I always love Green Arrow. I don't know why I don't read Green Arrow. I always have so much fun when he's on. Same with the Flash. I don't know why I don't read the Flash. I always have so much fun
Yeah,
when he shows up in a comic or in a cartoon.
absolutely.
I just I should read more Flash and Green Arrow.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that wraps it up for this issue. So that was issue 6. We'll see you next time for issue 7. But yeah, this is fun. Everything's still good so far. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. The art, other than those a couple chapters with what was that issue 4, yeah, the first couple chapters. Since then, it's been pretty decent, consistently decent. I mean, you get varying results, but overall, it's been pretty good. So let's hope that at least maintains some sort of consistency. I would really hate if the art just drops off to a point where it's always crappy. I can handle a bad issue here and
Yeah.
there, but I really don't want to get to a point where the art's just not good at all.
Well, for this issue, other than Batman's silly face, I really didn't even. I mean, I never even thought about the art, to be honest with you, until now.
Yeah. There was some good drawings in there, especially in the first two chapters I liked. But yeah, well, we'll see you for, like I said, we'll see you for issue 7, and see you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.
Take care.